Happy Friday, Biktrix family. Welcome back to another edition of Biktrix Live. This week is a little less live than usual. We are having a bit of technical difficulties with our live setup, so we do have some pre-recorded stuff for you to check out. And as usual, if you have any questions about anything we're talking about in the video, please go ahead and pop that in the chat. We will be answering your questions live there. Thanks for joining us. So stoked to have you here. And as always, if you have any other questions beyond this video, please reach out to us via our website and we'd be happy to help you. Catch you on the flip side. Have a good one. Hey, welcome back to another Biktrix Live on a beautiful Friday afternoon. Today, I'm super stoked. We are going to build the bike that's in this box. It is one of the brand new Juggernaut Hub Duos. And this one is the smaller frame with the 24x4 inch wheel set in emerald green, and I'm super excited to show it off. It looks really cool. So we're going to kind of do it unboxing and build style, and this is kind of how it'll go when you get your new bike at your place. So my guest today is our head mechanic, DJ. Come on in, DJ.
Hi, everyone.
All right, DJ, tell us a little about you, how long you've been with the company, what you do here.
I'm working as a mechanics manager, shop floor manager, and I'm here for like last 2 years. And working over here is like genuine pleasure because riding bikes is my hobby.
Nice. Yeah, I'm super stoked. And so this is a newer bike. Like we just got these ones in, the Hub Duos. It falls in that same family as like the Classic Duo and the Ultra Duo. I'm super excited to unbox this with you. So let's get started. Now we did already pop the lid on this one. When a bike arrives to you, it'll have some plastic strapping and some other tape and labels and stuff, but this one is one that came to us, so we don't have that, but imagine we cut that all off already. So we're just going to open this big beautiful box, and if my camera guy wants to come in and show off what it looks like in here just when you crack it open. So as you can see, the bike is for the most part fairly assembled. There's not a ton that needs to be done overall, but there is some that we are going to do. So the first step is going to be what, DJ?
Take the wheel out, take the front wheel out.
And we're just gonna lift this up.
It would be zip tied with the frame.
Yes, so normally it would come attached and you would have to use some clippers. Do you have some clippers to show?
Yeah, sure.
You can use some scissors or some nippers, something like that, and then you just, I'm just gonna cut the tip off. You just give a clip and you're good to go. And so we're just gonna set this aside for now because we don't need it quite yet. I'm gonna pop it over here. All right, so I believe there's a toolbox in the box, DJ. Is that
this
what
is
we've got right here? Okay, fantastic. Let's open up that toolbox. This is the exact one that would come with the bike when you get it. And in here we have pedals. Those are pretty important for a bike, I would think. A toolkit with some hardware.
Touch paint.
Oh, these ones do come with touch of paint. I know a lot of folks have been asking in previous videos and just in general, like, whoa, just send it with touch of paint. These ones have it. So, awesome. It's real pretty. Excellent. I'm going to set that aside. Now, how do we get this big bike out of this big box? Would there be anything else that we would normally need to clip?
No. It would be just, you just need to lift it out of the box.
All right.
Yeah.
Best way to do it.
If you need hand, just grab someone's help.
Raise up the seat.
Raise
so you
up
have
the
a little
seat
more
so
space.
you have something to hold on and make sure it is tight enough so that it stays.
Now, some folks' instinct is going to be to cut this box and like open it. I mean, yeah, but we do recommend holding onto your box intact for at least 14 days, just because that's going to cover you for that return policy in our TOS. Just if for any reason there's anything that needs to happen with your bike and needing that box in that timeline. So I don't recommend chopping it up if you can avoid it. So how are we going to lift this out? Probably teamwork.
No. This is how I do it. I'll hold it from the seat post and straight away lift it up, and I'll hold it from here as well. So just like this.
All right. And if you aren't as buff and strong as DJ, then I would recommend teamwork.
Yes.
Lift together. All right, so we're done with this box. I am going to slide it out of the way. Go back here. And now we've got a lot of wrapping. That's for safety. Yep. Keep it pretty. All right, so we're going to just build this bike together, DJ. Where do we start?
So first thing I would put on is the front wheel.
Okay.
So that we can put the bike on the kickstand.
Smart. How do I do that?
I'll show you how to do it. Awesome. So first, take the fender off. Could you please hold me? Yep. Hold it for me, please. I'll take this protectors off.
And those are just to protect it during shipping, those little circles.
These are just protectors that will prevent the wheel from damaging and shipping damages, right? I'll take the QR off.
And now with this one, make sure you're just nipping that plastic bit and not your spokes. Mind you, if you can nip through your spokes, you're Superman. So
this is your quick release that will hold your wheel onto the fork.
And so not all of our bikes have QRs, quick release axles.
In case you have
front.
a quick release wheel.
If you have a quick release, this is what it's going to look like. It's got these springs. Sometimes they stack themselves up and looks like one is missing, but just check. They should both be there. All right.
I'll take the QR. So lever always stays on rotor side. So we'll screw this nut on just a couple of threads so it stays there. So like this. Now we'll unwrap the fork.
All right, and we are filming in HQ as per usual, so you'll probably hear some HQ life sounds in the background. We're just gonna work around them. We've got lots of folks hard at work getting these bikes out the door to folks.
Okay, next, all you got to do is slide the wheel in between the forks and make sure the rotor goes in between those brake pads.
All right.
So do it very carefully. Should be easy.
Excellent. So we line up our dropouts and our axle, like for our dropouts here, and then our rotor into our calipers in our brakes. So DJ made that look easy. It's almost like he's done this before. Excellent. Okay. And now we can put the kickstand on so it doesn't roll away.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Now we can snug up the QR. So that. So it has to be snugged up enough so that the wheel doesn't leave you behind.
DJ will laugh at me and I can see it in his face. When I got my bike, which you may have seen in some of our previous videos, my lovely blue Ultra Duo step through, I rode it for like 3 weeks. And I brought it in and I said, hey DJ, my front wheel's wobbly. Can you check the tire pressure? And he goes, Shannon, what the heck? You're lucky this didn't fall off because the quick release was improperly secured and so there was some play on that axle, which is not a good time. So make sure you have that snugged up. You shouldn't have any wobble.
You can always check by like lifting the fork and
Perfect. So don't do what I did. Make sure you're tightening your screws correctly.
So next we'll install the handlebar.
Excellent.
Just undo the zip ties. And remove the wrappings.
The handlebars are going to come with everything pre-wired on them for you. So even if you've switched to the A-bars, there was a period of time we were just tucking the A-bars in, but we've now moved to installing those for you just to keep things nice and simple for folks. We'll put all of like your grips and for the most part like the stock grips and your brake levers and display and anything that requires a cable and being mounted on there, that'll already be there. All right, and so this one has a adjustable stem. So right here you can see where we'll be able to tilt it. And
I'll need the tools
we're
now.
gonna need some tools from the toolkit now.
Yes.
Here we go. This one?
Just the multi-tool.
And there's just a piece down
So
in
you
there. We're
need
gonna loosen them up.
Loosen these 2 bolts. And flip it.
Flip it front ways.
Make sure it is aligned with the front wheel. Once it's aligned, we can snug the bolts back. And this is really important. We need to make sure the stem bolt is tight enough, because people end up having loose headsets because they didn't check this bolt.
Mom always said if my head wasn't screwed on, I'd leave it behind. So let's make sure this is on tight.
Yeah. So next we'll mount the handlebar now. For that you need to use 4mm and take this cap off. The bolts would be fairly loose, so you don't need to worry about.
All right.
So the handlebar would have marking so that it's mounted in center, like these ones.
Nice
Here.
ridges here.
Yeah, so this goes right here.
And one thing to make sure we're watching for is, of course, that your grips and your levers are on the right side and your wires aren't all super twisted up. So you want to make sure you're not.
You can always disconnect these plugs and make sure the wires are straight enough and there is no tangles, and you can plug it back,
Nice and
plug them all back.
All right, so if we were going to put those in there,
Yep.
I'll hold them in. Line the cap back up. I'm just going to snug them in just lightly just to get everything started.
Now make sure you snug up all the bolts evenly, because if you snug one of these bolts too tight, then you won't be able to adjust the handlebars and you might crack this cap as
Now,
well.
is there a certain pattern you should do it in, or can you just...
I always recommend
pattern?
like X pattern.
Okay, so do diagonals.
Yeah.
The stock grips on this is nice and ergonomic.
Yeah.
I like these.
They are very good. So we are almost there. Okay.
It's better to take your time and make sure you've got it all snugged
Yeah.
up and correct.
You have to make sure
The
that
first
it is all
time.
snugged up, because you don't want to ride the bike with rattling handlebar.
No.
This is how you install the handlebar on these
Very
bikes.
nice. Ooh, and now we can steer. Excellent. Those brakes feel good. Perfect. Love
So
this.
here we can like flip these connectors, so you can always unplug these connectors and take it from this, take it around and make so the cable management is proper. So I'll show. Okay, can you hold this tool for me, please? Okay, so we can flip this.
And you'll notice that they are color
Color-coded.
coordinated, and they do have little nibs in there so that you can line them up correctly. Don't try to force them.
And they have arrows
and there's
as well.
arrows. So make sure
So
your arrows line up.
Make
and
sure
you're
your
being-
arrows line up and you're pushing in straight.
So you don't want to wreck the pins. And of course, this part is kind of optional. We're just doing it to
This
make
is kind
sure,
of optional. Yeah.
to make sure that the cables are just extra nice in this case. Awesome. All right. Well, now we can steer. So we're partway there.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest part of the installation
Yes.
out of the box.
Bike
We've
is
got,
like almost ready now.
We've got the bulk
Only
of it done already,
Yep.
and it hasn't taken long at all. So what's next? Like, I still see coverings, and we did
It's-
take some pedals out of a box.
Yeah. So
Those are
next
key.
is paddles or fenders, whatever you like.
Well, why don't we do the fender and finish the front
Yeah.
end?
Let's do the fender.
All right. So here's the fender,
So-
and I have the hardware in my pocket. Now, I think the fenders is one of the things we get asked about fairly often is just how to install these so that they sit nicely in the front. So let's have a look at how DJ does
Okay.
this.
So the fender has this adjustable mounts. So if the fender is like, if you think it is not reaching, you can always adjust these mounts. You can loosen this bolt and you can take it in and take it out.
Sweet, on the fender stays.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So those go from towards the back.
Yeah, so we need to plug the headlight as well.
Okay.
Here.
Oh, here it is.
So, snips, please.
I know. They're in your pocket.
Oh, here. Sorry. So we'll undo the packing. Normally the front light, headlight would be in front of the fork, and the fender would be on the back side of the fork. So I'll take the bolt. This one bolt will hold the headlight and the fender as well. So one washer goes in front. Like this. It will go through this fork mount, and on the back, as you can see, one bolt will hold the fender as well. So just mount it like this, and this nylock nut will hold everything together here.
Very nice. Okay.
So this is the case where it's not reaching, so you can loosen this mount. Oh, it's the 3 more. It's okay.
That's a 4.
I think we should be good. Yeah, we should be good.
Okay.
You can always pull them. Okay. So one bolt on each side of the fender. So these mounts are threaded already, so you don't need a nut to mount this fender stay. Okay, I'll need the Allen key. It's not mounted. Okay, same on this side as well. It would be a little tricky if you're doing for the first time, so take your time.
And if you find the back end of your fender is fitting kind of snug to your wheel, again, you can lengthen those, adjust those stays here to give yourself a bit more space.
I'll show you how to do it. So with this one, fender is hitting the
It's touching, I
tire,
can
right?
hear it, yeah.
So I'll need the tool for that.
Alright, so in this case, like as DJ just showed, the fender is sitting kind of snug, so we are going to lengthen this out a bit more. He's just going to grab a 3mm hex key to do it. Now that's not one that's on there, but they are pretty easy to find at a local hardware shop. Or if you've ever built IKEA furniture, you might have one in there, who knows.
So you'll need a 3mm with that to adjust that. So we'll just loosen this bolt. Right. So loosen both of the stays and put it up like this.
Make yourself some clearance.
Just to have this additional clearance over here.
And make sure you snug them back up once you've made your adjustment.
Okay. Next, we'll have this bolt to snug up. So again, we'll use a 5mm, and in this case, to snug up this bolt, you'll have a nut, nylock nut over here, and you need a 10 mil wrench for that. So to flip the wrench. Okay, so all you got to do is snug it up. Again, it would be tricky if you are doing for the first time.
Yes, take your time.
There.
There we go. And now I can see daylight between the fenders, so it looks like we have way more clearance now than we did, so awesome. Looks like it's ready to keep the mud off my jeans while I'm riding later.
Yeah. And
All
you
right.
can always check it's not hitting.
Beautiful. All right, so the next bit we've got going on is pedals. There's 2 of them. I just pop these on any which way, right, DJ?
No,
And just
the pedal
go?
will have markings on them, R and L. So R goes to right and L goes to left. And I recommend using some grease on the threads. So I'll show you the markings first. If you see, there is an L over here.
Oh, and then there's an R right in here.
Yeah.
Since they have
On both sides in that same spot, actually.
since the left pedal is like anti-clockwise threads, you cannot interchange the pedals. That is very important.
Or you'll cross-thread it and have a bad time. So make sure you are paying attention for your left and right and putting them on the correct way. So let's show us how to do that left pedal.
Sure. So I recommend using some grease onto the threads. Just a bit so that it goes in smoothly. And one easy way to mount the pedals is always rotate it towards the handlebar. That is the easiest way.
Excellent.
You don't need to worry about the threads.
As long as you have your left on your left and you're rotating towards the handlebars, you'll get it right. Or get it left, depending on which pedal you're working on.
Why? Okay, that's it. Wrench. So snug the pedal.
You want those on nice and snug?
Nice and snug. So let's go to right pedal. Again, putting some grease on. And spinning it towards the handlebar. There. This is how you mount the pedals.
Love it. All right, so now we've got pedals on, handlebars on, front wheel on, so some pretty important pieces added. You'll also find one of these little guys. It's just a little cap in your pocket. Well, it's a box. It was in my pocket. It's just a cover for your handlebar stem, so just plug that little guy in there. All right, keeps that
And
safe.
the very important part is the key. It would be zip tied with the cables or the handlebars.
Yeah, so they'll be on your front end somewhere. Keys are super important. They are what are going to put your battery on and off your bike. You don't need them to it's not an ignition key. That's not what they do. It's literally to keep those batteries locked into your frame or popped out. They are unique. So let's pop these ones off. So there's a number engraved on the key and there'll be a matching number on the key, like the locking mechanism as well. So DJ, if you want to uncover that, I did grab us a battery.
Yep.
Alrighty. So on your batteries, you're going to find these 4 little holes on the one side. It's the same side as your charge pin. The top side looks different. This side goes towards the bottom. And so first I'm going to start off with putting my key into the lock and just making sure it's unlocked. There's also a lever down here. That's important.
That's
now,
just a release knob.
It's just the release knob. So now the way I found easiest, especially even on my bike, to put the battery on is actually with the wheel turned. And then you kind of get up in here underneath like a baby. You cradle it, bottom in first, and then lever it up, hold it in there, turn your key, pull it out, test the knob, make sure. All right, it's in. On the flip side, when you're taking it out, key in, keep your hand on the battery, turn it, use the release knob. The top is going to come out first, out and away. So we're going to just pop it back in, up and in, lock. All right, so there we go. Now this one's a single battery setup, so we're not going to worry about installing a range extender plate or anything today, but that would go right here. I believe we had done that on a previous video. If not, we do have resources on our help desk for that. So it would attach here. It's already got the screws, and then the plug-in is down here. And then your range extender would sit there. But this is going to be single battery setup on this one.
Yep.
I'm going to leave the cover on the seat for now. So then you can adjust your seat to your preferred riding position.
I will take off all the extra wrappings
Make sure
as well.
I will take this off for now, actually. Make sure all your wrappings are unwrapped. You don't have any plastic or bits and pieces left on. Ooh, she's shiny.
Yeah,
Oh, it's a
colors.
pretty bike.
This color looks gorgeous.
This looks fantastic. I'm so stoked on these bikes. You can power it on.
And just to let everyone know, these are just the mounting plate bolts
Yep.
for the secondary battery.
Yep.
So they can stay here.
Yeah, you can just leave them.
Yeah.
Some folks I've seen that have chosen to go with just the single setup, battery setup, have actually used these to mount like a water bottle
Water
holder,
bottle mount, yeah.
which is thinking smart. Okay, so then you can just power it on.
Power it on.
Maybe. There we
Yeah.
go. I didn't hold the button down long enough.
Has a beautiful color display.
Lovely little color display. I like these ones that are off to the side with the buttons right on them. Everything I need to see and do is all in one space. Just do a wee kickstand test. Let's get that wheel spinning. We're ready to rock and roll. Oh, all right. So one more thing. At this point, everything is installed. You can hop into our next video, how to ride your e-bike,
Yeah.
and pick it up from there on what your next steps are going to be. But I did want to take a second while we have these models actually all in one spot. So this is the small frame Hub Duo with the 24 by 4 inch wheels. And I'm just going to slide it over. And I've got 2 more to show you. All right, so now we've got a Hub Duo, a Classic Duo, and an Ultra Duo, all 3 in the Step Over family. So you got your rear hub drive, your 750 watt mid drive, and your 1000 watt mid drive, all next to each other. So these 2 are both the small frame versions with 24 by 4 inch wheel set. This is the large frame version with a 27.5 by 3 inch wheel set. And I just wanted to take this opportunity while they're all together, one, to just like show off the kids, but also to show the difference in frame sizing between the large frame step through and the small frame step through. I mean, it's not super significant. This one has its seat way up right now. But what we're looking for is, of course, here. And so for a lot of folks, the large frame is actually still pretty accessible to people like 5'5" and up. This is the exact same model as I ride on a day-to-day. And normally I would ride something smaller in just about any other Duo. So they are close in size, and so that does open up a lot of options for a lot of different heights of people. And I'm so stoked that these are all here, and they're so pretty, and I'm just like, yeah, let's have some fun. All right, so that's what I wanted to show off. DJ, do you have any final recommendations on setting up your bike out of the box?
Yeah, so make sure these stem bolts are super tight because this is gonna steer you in the right direction. So you don't want to keep these bolts loose because
Gotcha.
it can end up really bad.
All right, so make sure your head's screwed on tight. Your stem, your head bolts, make sure everything is nice and snug. Follow the guide in the How to Ride Your E-Bike on how to get started, and just have a lot of fun.
Yes.
Enjoy the ride.